This is the all-new Community Connection. I'm your host, Jade Harrell, keeping you connected to our community. The St. Louis Area Food Bank is telling us to go orange for September. I am joined today by Ryan Farmer, Director of Communications with the St. Louis Area Food Bank. Tell me about going orange for hunger.
Well, September is Hunger Action Month, and orange is the national color for hunger awareness. And so we came up with this idea a couple of years ago, this hashtag Go Orange STL. And what we encourage everyone to do is wear orange, to take a picture with something orange. We've got signs that you can download on our website that are orange, and really we just want to help get the word out on to kick off Hunger Action Month by having everyone, or as many people as possible at least, go orange to raise awareness for hunger right here in our community.
Super cool. How vast is the need here in our community?
Well, I think it's a lot greater than a lot of people think, and the reason, hunger doesn't always present itself in a way that is noticeable to others, but it's certainly an issue that we know and we deal with every single day here at the St. Louis Area Food Bank. We know that 1 in 8 people right here in our community in the bi-state region is in need of food assistance, and so
how many? 1 in 8, huh?
Yeah, 1 in 8.
Wow.
So it could be the person working at the parking garage. It could be the person making your coffee. It could be your kid's teacher. You just never know. It's something that we're working to raise awareness for and to address right here in our community. And so it's a problem that I'm glad to hear people are talking more about, because for a long time I think people were reluctant to ask for help or to even discuss the issue of hunger and poverty in our community. And it's good to see that there are people getting involved and finding new ways to help address that right here in our community.
Absolutely. So could you define hunger then? Maybe part of that is whether or not, hey, could I even say that, speak up and say that's where I am, or I'm just kind of hitting hard times, or I didn't realize that a teacher could be, or a parking attendant could be in this space. Help us all understand and define hunger in our community.
Hunger really just comes down to, not knowing where your next meal may come from. Hunger could be, just a real unassurance of where am I going to get my next meal? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to feed myself? And what we see a lot of times is it's a matter of people having to make tough choices. Am I going to pay for food, or am I going to pay my rent or mortgage this month? Am I going to pay for food, or am I going to pay for the medicine that I need? And really one of the demographics that gets hit the hardest with this are children. Children don't have any say in the homes that they're brought up in, and obviously can't work to support themselves. And so if you're born into that cycle of poverty, it's really tough to break out of a lot of times. And so, what we do is we work to get food in from a variety of sources and then get it out to the smaller food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, other nonprofit feeding programs in the area to help supplement what they may be getting from other sources, whether they're doing food drives on their own or, collecting funds. If it's based out of a church, they may be doing like food and funds drives on their own, but we work to get not only large volumes of food out into the community, but working every day to try to make the food that we distribute higher in nutritional value.
That's right.
Because we know for a fact that there's a lot of low-income families that are dealing with health issues. A lot of it has to do with diet, and whether it's diabetes or hypertension, obesity, often, sadly, the food that's best for you is often more expensive than the stuff that's not good for you. And so, even though we are a food bank, a lot of people, wouldn't think about it, but we do work to bring in a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables from across the country and from right here in our own backyard, to help, people that are dealing with health issues to have better choices. If your only source of food or your closest source of food is a gas station or if you live in a rural community and the closest grocery store is 30 minutes away and you don't have transportation, it can be really difficult to get healthy food and to make healthy choices when it comes to eating. And so, we're working every day, again, not only to provide large volumes of food, but to make sure that food is high in nutritional value as well.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. And talk about the promise that having more nutrition, healthier food, access to good quality food can provide.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
of
different
outcomes, differences.
Well, I mean, we're seeing it. It's something that I think we can all identify with. I think everybody has had that day when you get busy and you miss breakfast or you miss lunch because you're working on something, or you just were running around and you didn't get a chance to do it, and how that makes you feel. I mentioned kids earlier. I mean, just thinking about what that feels like to a child, who's trying to learn. I think there's just you're really starting to see people take notice, and with Michelle Obama and her campaign to get better food into the hands of school kids. Just some of the differences that it can make, and just introducing healthier alternatives to kids when it comes to food. I think about a story that will stick with me probably for the rest of my life is we were doing an event over in East St. Louis at a family center over there, and there were a bunch of school-age kids, and it was actually a Sesame Street had put together a program on hunger, trying to put it in terms that kids can understand and educate them on healthier eating habits, and trying to reduce some of the stigma of asking for help and going to a food pantry if your parents have fallen on hard times. And we were doing a game at the end for kids, and we were talking about sometimes foods and all the time foods. And sometimes foods would be your chips or candy or that sort of stuff, and it's okay to have a treat every now and again. And then we were talking about all the time foods and looking at fruits and vegetables. And I'll never forget the young woman that was with me who held up a picture of broccoli and said, "Who knows what this is?" And literally no one raised their hand.
Whoa.
And I was like, I have a hard time getting my kids to eat broccoli, but I'm at least introducing it.
Yeah.
And if kids aren't even seeing that, or it's not even in their home, it's really hard to get them to make those healthier choices that are going to, ultimately, lead to better health and keep adults out of the hospital for health-related issues. And I think it's just, even though I think all of us, including myself, don't always eat the way that we should, we at least know that when we do that oftentimes we feel better and our overall health is improved.
Yep, and from there we are way more productive. We can see more clearly. We can dream more vividly, and our world opens up as a result of it. There's just so much more that can come from that. Now, you say you do this every day. Take us through a typical day for St. Louis Area Food Bank. What are the numbers and the reach?
Well, we cover 26 counties total. So we have 14 in Missouri and 12 in Illinois. And so that's a pretty broad, I mean, when you talk about the outlying areas of our service territory, I mean, we're going down into Carbondale, in Illinois, and Iron County in Missouri. But, we know that as a member of Feeding America, which is the nationwide network of food banks, that they're working every day to make sure that no county in the U.S. goes unserved or underserved. And so that's what we look at every day is making sure that we're equitably distributing that food among the 26 counties that we have. And within those 26 counties, we have just a little bit under 500 partner agencies that we provide food to. And again, those would be food pantries where you would go to get food and bring it back to your home or apartment, a soup kitchen where you would go to get a warm meal, a shelter, whether that's a homeless situation or an abusive situation, and just really try to help get people back on their feet. We're not a direct service agency, but rather, working within the food industry to bring quality food into the area and then distribute it out to these smaller food pantries and soup kitchens, which are oftentimes run by volunteers. And so when I get here in the morning, we've got agencies from the different food pantries that we serve, particularly in the city and county, picking up food here. We've got our trucks out delivering. We've got 12 trucks going every single day, dropping off food and picking up food from grocery stores and from community food drives where people have been collecting food in their at their office or at their church or maybe their kids' school. So we're dropping off and picking up. We've got agencies here picking up. We've got our volunteer center where every year we have 15 to 16,000 volunteers coming in and boxing up and sorting through the donated food that we get to get it out to the people that need it. We've got a department that's looking for food constantly as far as new sources. We've got food drives. We've got food that we receive through the USDA based on the number of people living in poverty. We've got, local grocery stores, farmers markets, farmers both locally and nationally. And then, the community at large, collecting food and having it come out here to the food banks so that we can get it out to the people that need it.
Wow. What an incredible effort.
Well,
that's humongous.
Yeah, it's something that we say around here is that, hunger can affect anyone and anyone can affect hunger.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a doctor. I can't cure diseases. But whether you're my son's age, who's 7, or you're, my grandparents' age, who are, in the 90s, every one of us can do something to help feed people, not in a faraway land, but right here in our community, the people that are hurting, people that need it, people that are trying to get back on their feet. And whether that's coming out here and boxing up food, whether that's holding a food drive at your office, or whether that's mailing in a check or going to our website and making a donation there, all of us can find some way that we can help address an issue right here in our community and do something to make healthier, more productive citizens that are going to ultimately improve our community as a whole.
For sure. And that's a constant effort.
Constant. And it's something that we all talk about here at the food bank, that we hope that we all have to go find other jobs someday and that we can finally address this. But it's something that we can do something about. And we know that there's a need, and we know that, the economy has gotten better, but there's also a lot of people that are what we call, it's not just the unemployed anymore. It's what we call underemployed. People that are taking part-time or seasonal work and don't have benefits, or they're taking full-time jobs that are at far less salary than what it would take to support their family, just to try to bring in some sort of income, to help put food on their table. But we know that there's still a lot of people hurting right here in our community, and particularly with kids, just trying to make sure that they've got the best chance possible to succeed at school.
Right. Now, you mentioned that there's a large number of people who won't speak up and say that they're in need. Mm-hmm. What things could we look for that may help us identify folks that do have a need, and then maybe how to respond?
I think it just goes back to, just having conversations with your friends, with your neighbors, with your family, and but really listen, open your ears, and make sure that you're not just hearing them, but you're actually listening to what they're saying. And I don't want to, just paint the picture that everyone's like this, but I would say as a whole, Americans are very prideful people, and often reluctant to ask for help. I can remember, hearing stories from one of our partner agencies about a family that was so embarrassed that they were going to, the husband had lost his job, and they were, their house was getting foreclosed on, and they, little by little were moving items out of their house in the middle of the night to the wife's parents' house because they were so embarrassed to have to face their neighbors and say, that we're losing our house, we can't make our mortgage payments anymore. We just, I don't feel like anyone should have to be embarrassed. when we're providing food to these different partner agencies, the goal is not to have people going there for the rest of their lives. The goal is to have them, going there until they can get back on their feet.
That's
and
right.
then, that to me in the nearly 7 years that I've been here at the food bank has been some of the most inspiring stories that I've heard are people that were out of work and receiving food from one of our food pantries, and but also volunteering there because they said I don't want to just feel like I'm taking food. I want to find a way to give back in some way. So they'd come and stock shelves, or they would put together bags of foods for other families that were in need. And I think that's what we see a lot more of. And unfortunately, I think sometimes it's painted a different way in the media that people are being enabled to just continue to receive free food. But I think a lot of people, if you ask them, face to face and talk to them, I think most of them would say that they'd rather be just about anywhere than standing in line at the food pantry to pick up food to take back to their family. Mm-hmm. It's St. Louis, and I've been there on the days when it's snowing outside and 30 degrees. I've been out there at our pantries when it's 105, and you see families holding their kids because they can't afford daycare, and they line up before the pantry is even open because they want to make sure that they get something that day and to take back. And it's just to people that say that we're enabling people, I would say, please come with me on a day that one of our pantries is open and see and talk to the people in line there. And I think the vast majority would tell you that they would rather be doing just about anything. They'd like to be working. They would like to be, have their kids in daycare. But that's unfortunately not their circumstance right now. But they're trying, to get back on their feet.
That's right. Very good. So, send out the invitation for Going Orange and how we can plug in and do something about it. Get involved.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes just the easiest way to do it is to just kind of be an advocate and raise awareness for the issue of hunger. And so, again, we're asking everybody on September 1st to go orange and take your pictures, post it to social media, whatever you like. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever works for you, post them on all of them, but just make sure you tag it Go Orange STL. All the information and some downloadable signs that you can print out and hold up and take your picture can be found on our website, which is stlfoodbank.org. So that's stlfoodbank.org. The Go Orange and the Hunger Action Month information is right there on our homepage. You can't miss it. And while you're there, you can also learn about volunteer shifts. You can learn about how to host a food drive. There's all kinds of different ways. Just click on the Get Involved tab at the top, and all the information's right there.
Exciting. Well, thank you so much, Ryan Farmer, Director of Communications for the St. Louis Area Food Bank. What a job you guys have and are doing a very good job at it.
Well, thank you. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without the support of the community, and we appreciate everything that everyone does for us.
Well, it's my great pleasure to take part, and we look forward to seeing the great good to come out of this campaign for September.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's it for this week. If you have questions or comments or have something you'd like to include in the community calendar, you can leave a message on our message box at 314-333-8369, 314-333-8369. And for more information about our show or any of our guests, you can visit us online and listen to the podcast at Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com. And search Community Connection with Jade Harrell. You all be blessed, do blessed, and take care.